Sometimes I think our curiosity about ourselves and our actions come back to bite us. In a lot of ways, I feel like what takes away the answer is questioning. Sometimes we have the answer. Sometimes we feel like we finally found the end to not the end. We found a explanation to a certain goal, certain idea, and a certain way to express it. And we get to that expression, we get to that becoming, that being yourself, and then we decide to start questioning who we are and questioning whether or not we deserve something, question not whether or not we're able to do a certain something. And I feel like a lot of times the very question is the thing that brings that anxiety. The very question is what allows you to have the other possibility. You know, I feel like if you have a life with positive intention, if you live your life trying to be positive with yourself and treating yourself like a friend and realizing that, you lose nothing in trying, you gain everything success, then when you go into these situations, when you actually try to apply yourself, then it's important to not question. It's important to not really try to push a negative narrative on yourself, because I feel like once we acknowledge that possibility, then it becomes real. And it's not to say ignore all negative possibilities, but to say live in the positive one. If you really were able to do this, if you really were ready to do this, would you question it? If you really were like, if you're ready to present, do you say, oh, am I ready to do this? Oh, can I do this? No, you say, I can do it. And you do it. You go out there and do it, because a lot of times in life, we have to do it. The questioning doesn't really do anything but stop us and create early suffering. Marcus Aurelius, I think it's a Marcus Aurelius quote. I really hope so. He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it's necessary. And I feel like a lot of us do that with our questioning. We try to enforce this narrative upon ourselves that, it could go this way, it could go this way. And it's true. But what's the point in constantly acknowledging, that negative avenue? I feel like when it comes to our opportunities and how we want to live our life in a happiness and a peace, it has to exist without constantly putting yourself in a negative place. Embracing positivity isn't about not acknowledging negativity. It's about not living in negativity. And the very question, I feel like, sometimes puts us in that place. Because it's like, oh, can I do this? It's enforcing that you're unsure. Enforcing that who you are right now may not be ready. And it's as true as it may be. I feel like, as a man thinketh, so shall he be. If you think you can do something, 9 times out of 10 you can. He who says he can and he who says he can't are both correct. And I feel like it's the very in-between that lets us teeter-totter. And when it comes up to our mind's interpretation, I feel like we live in a time of anxiety, where negative possibilities are abundant and they can happen. But, as easy as that is said, positive things happen all the time. They all happen at the same time. They all happen all the time. It's just about choosing which one you want to give attention to. In acknowledging the duality within yourself, that you have negative and positive, acknowledging that you have to accept all parts of yourself. You have to embrace certain parts. You embrace the whole thing, but you have to embrace certain parts. Embrace it. Sometimes you embrace the negative parts in order to get them to be positive. It's when you shine darkness and light, it no longer becomes darkness. It's no longer darkness. If the light comes from you, you cast no shadows. I feel like it's just very important to sort of live life on a positive tinge, with a positive confidence, and keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what happens, it's not necessarily about how things are. It's about how you react to them and how you are. And if you're a positive, confident person, regardless of the situation, you're going to find a way to get around it. It's about the way we tend that allows our mind to find certain opportunities and find certain pathways for us to achieve certain things. If you have a positive mind, a mind that thinks you can achieve anything, this, that, and the other, then whenever you encounter something that feels like it's in line with your dream, in line with whatever you want to do, then it's easier to hop on that opportunity. It's easier to see the opportunity, because we're not caught in the shroud of negativity. Everything exists all at once, right in front of us, positive and negative. You could look outside and think it's ugly, but at the same time, you could think it's beautiful. It's just about the perspective at which you take on these certain things, and especially the perspective at which you take on yourself. the constant questioning of the self, I don't feel like it's necessarily a negative thing. Of course, you have to question yourself to get better understanding. But in terms of our expression, in terms of the embodiment of ourselves, in terms of like, am I doing the right thing or what am I doing? Da, da, da. I feel like it takes us away from the present moment. It takes us away from ourselves in a way. It takes us away from our opportunity to actually create change and to actually, I don't know, to cultivate something that's actually beyond ourselves or beyond the current point we're at. Because if we're constantly stuck in this image of ourselves where we can or can't do something and we're stuck in that anxiety, then that's what it is. I saw a quote like, the human mind is so powerful that if you think it's powerless, then it is. If you think you have no power, then you have no power. If you think you're terrible, I'm not saying you're terrible, but if you feel that way, then you might as well be. What I'm saying is it's important to have a good perspective. You know, be honest with yourself, but also have a little love for yourself in regards to your perspective. You know, have a little affection for yourself. That's another video I wanted to touch on. But like, self-love has no condition in my head. You know, the way you live and the way you carry yourself, you know, should be filled with love for yourself. You're the only one who can do you the way you do you. And at the end of the day, all you have to be is you. All you have to do is continue to move forward and be yourself. And I feel like if you come with a positive intention, if you know, just smile more. Like, whenever I get in a negative spot, whenever I'm overthinking, whenever I feel that, you know, that subtle anxious feeling, sometimes I just smile. You know, it's a very, I don't know, I think it's a very helpful habit, because if you smile, then, like, I think you just can't help but to start to get on the right track when it comes to that. You know, you can't hate yourself into being a better person. I say this almost every video. You have to love yourself into being better. You have to fill yourself with that positivity that you want to be expressed in your character. Otherwise, you're filling yourself with negativity, and then you have nothing to express. You have nothing to bring out the negativity. As within, so without. You know, everything is internal. And I think that's what it truly means, that everything is internal, because if you're a good person inside, you're going to be a good person outside. Especially if you're conscious enough to be aware of it. You know, conscious enough to be in control. You know, your mind is a tool, not a console. It does exactly what you feed it. You know, you feed it constant negativity, then it's going to feed you constant negativity. You know, it's kind of like a mirror. It's kind of looking at the way in which you've indoctrinated yourself into a certain pattern of subconscious thought. And I don't know. It just feels sort of stupid to me. Like, okay, I can explain like where I got the when I tell you this, okay, here we go. I was in DC visiting a couple of friends, and I was like hanging out with their pets and whatnot, and I just started to think of like human consciousness and how crazy it is, how much we question ourselves. Like, if you think of I saw a very anxious dog, and I was like, wow, that dog probably just questions himself a lot. And then I started to think about how our anxiety works, and it really stems from the same thing. We question ourselves a lot. We think that what we do is not in line with our nature. What we do is not in line with ourselves, when in reality it is. Because everything is us. Everything you do is you. It's just important about being, not controlling, but being influential to your decisions. Understanding that, you're the only one who can live out your life. You're the only one who can be you. So you might as well do it. You might as well do it consciously and intently and positively. Because you have nothing to gain in being negative all the time. But you have everything to gain in being positive. In investing yourself in your success, you really create it. In trying to be successful, you are successful. It's about not having expectation, but being aware of your desires. You can want whatever you want, but need nothing. I think that's the whole point of like not forcing and not needing, because when you don't need anything, everything comes to you. When you don't expect anything, then you gain everything. It's truly true, like, because everything else is a gift. You can want something. Oh, I want some water. You might need water. Hold on, that's a bad analogy. You might, want some money in some scenario. You might desire it. You might want somebody to act a certain way, but you don't need it. You have to keep telling yourself you don't need it. Because at the end of the day, what you do and who you are is not contingent on someone else or some other thing. Who you are is ultimately defined by you, and it's not something that is defined by your accolades, your achievements, and whatnot. Because self-love is without condition. All love is without condition, the way I see it. So what's the point? You know, you don't have to jump over hoops and hurdles in order to truly realize you love yourself, because you should love yourself regardless. You know, you have to start from the foundation in order to build up. You can't start from the top and build down. And I think a lot of people get so caught up in their expression, they forget that it's the thing inside that's controlling that expression. Oh, I'm doing this. I say these certain things, and I feel like I'm sort of out of place with it because I'm not comfortable in here. And I feel like in a lot of ways, we just express our discomfort. We express how much we question ourselves. We express our anxiety with our expression so much in everything we do. And that's why I think it's important to stop sort of questioning yourself. But, you know, I'm not saying be immoral. I'm not saying, you know, don't think about what you do. Like, of course, if I go say something to someone, if I go do this today, I'm going to think about how that's going to work and how that's going to affect them, how it's going to affect me in the future. But I'm not going to say to myself, if I want to do something that I think I can. Like, can I do this today? Of course I can. Do I want to, though? That's a different thing. You know, it's about opening your mind up to possibility and acknowledging that you can do whatever you want. And I feel like once you acknowledge and stop questioning so much your ability to apply yourself, then it becomes just a battle of deciding what you want to do. And I feel like that's a pretty good place to be in. You know, I feel like a lot of us question what we want to do, but when we start doing it, it's about not questioning it. You know, what am I doing right now? You're doing what you're doing right now, and you have to decide whether or not you want to do that. Can you do it? Of course. Do you want to, though? Do you want to be doing what you're doing right now? And it's about whatever just makes you feel like yourself. Whatever makes you feel that love, that passion, you know, whatever makes you feel love for yourself. You know, whatever form of expression, whatever work you put in. And I'm realizing, you know, as much as I talk, because I don't really know what type of niche this is. You know, as much as I talk, as much as I express myself, it kind of encompasses so much that I can't really put my finger on what exactly it is sometimes. But the more I look at other people, the more I see the world around me, the more I realize that, you know, as much as I talk about this and whatever I'm doing, it's applicable to anything, to anyone's career path, to anything anybody does. Because at the end of the day, it's about how you express yourself through whatever you do. Whether or not you can learn to love yourself in your action. If you want to be a doctor, it's about putting that work in, not questioning whether or not you can, because you can, doing what you need to do in order to do it, not having any expectation, as in, you know, be patient with yourself and be present enough to learn your lessons and appreciate everything that's happening. Because once you get there, you have to feel deserving. I just think it's important to not question yourself. You know, have love enough for yourself to realize that, you know, you're beyond your own questioning. You're beyond it. You know, you don't question everyone's actions. There's some people you don't question. You just accept what they do, and you should accept yourself as well. But that's not to say don't change. That's not to say you're stagnant. Because he who thinks the journey is over is truly lost. That's to say, acknowledge your action. Oh, I did this. And stand on it. You made your bed. Later, if it's a bad action, do what you need to do in order to come back from it. And if you can't come back from it, you have to learn to forgive yourself from the situation. Because at the end of the day, if someone forgives you, it's about if you forgive yourself. You know? And of course, you're like, tend to whatever you need to tend to. But understand that any type of healing has to come from you. You have to be the one to acknowledge your own wounds and acknowledge your own faults. You know, other people can tell you this, they can tell you that, and they can make you look at it. But until you make it real, until you realize it's there, then it won't ever be healed. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of y'all. I have so much love for each and every one of you, honestly. I hope everyone's taking care of themselves, being a friend to themselves, and trying not to question too much about themselves. You know, I feel like curiosity is a great thing. And when I say question yourself, I don't mean don't try to find out new things. I mean, when you do something, do it. When you're here, be here. stop questioning whether or not you're present. That very question is taking you away from the present. So keep being y'all, keep being great. With that being said, I'm not going to troll y'all, I don't think. But thank you.